like to highlight that too. So I'll go through Druid first. Alright, so Innervate is a card you pretty much will 100% play in every single Druid deck. It's probably one of the defining cards of the class, and so you should play it in every deck. I mean, it's basic, but you should have that in every single Druid deck. Moonfire is very niche. It's probably not played in a lot of decks, but it could be played in some weird combo decks. Claw is a good solid card, especially for beginners. Like, you may not have some of those legendaries and stuff like that. Like, Claw fills in as another removal spell, and I think it's a pretty decent card. Playing one or two of these is certainly fine. Naturalize, I think, is a fairly bad card. I personally would just disenchant it. I don't ever want to let my opponent draw 2 cards. I would much rather just... Like, this card is not even a 2-for-1, it's a 3-for-1. Like, you're using a card and they're getting 2 cards, it's like 3-for-1. It's really... I mean, you really have to have a very unique board state for that to work out. And it can, but I would never play it personally. I would disenchant Savagery. Dealing damage equal to your hero's attack to a minion is just not worth it. It's too random. Like, it's too unlikely you'll have enough armor to kill what you want to do. It's just... I don't think it's worth it. Now, obviously... Warrior similar card that does to armor, like even armor would be better for Druid than the damage. So Mark of the Wild, I think Mark of the Wild's a good card, and I think it's a little bit underplayed actually, especially now that Tinkmaster's been nerfed and people are less likely to be able to deal with it that way. Now they could still silence it, but I mean generally the turn you play it you get some advantage out of it. So ideally what would happen is you, for example, play this on your Harvest column and like attack their Azure Drake and kill it. Well, even if they silence or something, who cares? You already got the benefit out of it. So it's a pretty good card. Power of the Wild's a good card. It's flexible. It lets you play a guy or buff all your guys. I think it's worth keeping. I think Wild Growth is a great card, especially in the current metagame. So playing that in a Druid deck is good. Wrath is must play. Every single Druid deck should have 2 Wraths in them. So you definitely do not want to disenchant that. Healing Touch is a very metagame card. If there's a whole lot of hunters and stuff, you could play one. But it's certainly not necessary to play in every deck. I think Mark of Nature is pretty much garbage. I would disenchant it. It's not good enough to play in any deck. Savage Roar is okay. It's a good combo card. With the Force of Nature, it's also good in more aggressive Druid decks. So it's a playable Druid card, but it does not have to be in every deck. I think Bite is okay, but not good enough. I probably would disenchant it. One of the most common casting costs in your Druid deck is 4, and it just seems very unlikely you're going to be able to fit this in there with all the other good 4 options that are better than this, so I probably would disenchant that one as a new player. Soul of the Forest is probably one of the most fun cards in the game, but it's, unless you're playing just sort of funsy combo decks, if you're actually playing competitively, you should just go ahead and disenchant it, because you're not going to play it in a competitive deck. Swipe is another card that must go in every single Druid deck, so you, I mean it's a basic card, but you want 2 of those in every single Druid deck. Keeper of the Grove is also a card you want in every single Druid deck, and it's a rare, so definitely don't disenchant that. If you want to play Druid, you want 2 of these in your deck for sure, so you should hold on to that. Nourish is decent, but it's still a bit slow, I think, so I don't know. I could see disenchanting it. You probably won't play it in most constructed decks, so disenchanting it is probably fine. You know, I could see an argument for keeping it. It's okay. Starfall's a good solid card, but it very rarely fits into the Druid deck just because there's so many other good options. I still would probably hold on to at least one. I doubt you would play 2 of these, so you probably could disenchant one of them if you need dust for something. Druid of the Claw is like also a staple Druid card. Almost every Druid deck will have 2 of these. Not every Druid deck, but almost every one. So I certainly would keep those. Force of Nature is also a very strong card that's used in a lot of Druid decks, so I'd probably keep one of these. If I got 2 of these, I'd probably go ahead and disenchant one, because you really only need one, and you'll probably only ever play one. So there's no reason to hold on to the second one unless you already have plenty of cards and you don't need them. Starfire is this weird card that, like, it seems like it should be really good, but no one plays with. I think there's room for it to come, but not really sure. Ancient of Lore is also a staple Druid card. You really want to have 2 of these in every Druid deck, so definitely don't disenchant this if you get it. It's great, and you certainly want to get to 2 of these to play Druid. I would not recommend playing Druid unless you have 2 of these. I mean, if you have one, I guess it's okay, or you don't have them and you just really like Druid, these should be the things that you're aiming to get. Ancient of War is situationally good. It's pretty good in the current metagame, I feel. I probably would keep it. I wouldn't always play it, but I do think it's a good card and it's worth having around to, play in certain metagames, so I probably would not disenchant it. Iron Bar Protector very likely is not going to be played in Constructed. It's a basic card. You can't disenchant it. Cenarius is a great card, and not all Druid decks play it, but it is a really strong card. It's not only... Both abilities are really good. I mean, most people just run it out there on empty boards and make 2/2/2 taunts, but giving all your guys +2/+2 can oftentimes finish a game or just put you in a severe advantage where they're expecting you to be able to trade equally, and then all of a sudden you buff 3 minions and kill all their stuff. So this card is certainly one you should keep. It's really good. It's a great option for Druid decks, so if you open this, keep it. Okay, so that's the